Most of us have been taught that when we're in a financial tight spot, the spiritual thing to do is to go to God and describe the problem in great detail. We spend 30 minutes telling the creator of the universe about our debt, our rising bills, and our lack of opportunities, as if he hasn't seen the bank statement already. But have you noticed that the more time you spend describing the darkness in your finances, the more heavy and anxious you feel? There's a fundamental shift that's got to happen in your prayer life if you want to see a shift in your bank account. Prayer was never intended to be a platform for us to complain about our circumstances. It was designed to be the place where we align ourselves with the laws of the kingdom. If you're praying against the financial laws that are already in motion, no amount of intensity in your prayer is going to change the outcome. In this video, we're going to look at why the begging model of prayer actually keeps you in a cycle of lack. And we're going to walk through how to reposition yourself so that your prayers start resulting in tangible, practical breakthroughs. By the time we're done, you'll see your finances not as a source of stress, but as a tool for your calling. The reason many of us are stressed when we pray is that we're carrying a burden we were never meant to hold. We pray as if we're the owners of our money, asking God for a handout or a favor to help us get by. But here's the reality of the kingdom. The moment you claim ownership of something, you become responsible for its maintenance. If it's your business, your pension, and your mortgage, then the pressure's entirely on you to sustain it. I remember a season where every time I sat down to pray, I felt a weight on my chest. I was saying, Lord, please help me pay my bills. And I realized that the reason God wasn't answering that prayer is because He wasn't the one who signed the contract. I was. The breakthrough happens when you resign as the owner and show up as the manager. When you shift from saying mine to saying yours, the pressure shifts from your shoulders to His. A king is obligated to provide for his citizens and to fund his projects. If your life and your business are His projects, then the provision is His responsibility. Your job in prayer is simply to report for duty and ask for the resources required for the assignment. Why do we speak out loud when we pray over our money? It's not because God needs to hear us to know what we need. It's because the physical world responds to the spiritual authority of words. If you look at the very beginning, God didn't think the world into existence. He spoke it. And as someone created in His image, your words have a creative and a destructive capacity. Most people use their words to document their misery. They say, I'll never get out of this debt. Or, business is so slow. You are effectively prophesying your own future when you do that. When you pray, you aren't there to give God a news report on how bad the economy is. You're there to bring the report of the Lord into your current situation. When you speak to your finances, you're acting as a legal representative of a higher economy. You're saying, regardless of what the inflation rate is in this country, the supply in my Father's kingdom remains unchanged. This isn't about positive thinking, it's about legal standing. So, how does this look in practice? Let's walk through the steps of how you can structure your time when you sit down to deal with your finances spiritually. First, we start with recalibration. Before you ask for a single penny, you've got to get your heart right. This is about clearing any internal blocks. You say, Father, I admit where I've handled money with fear or where I've been impulsive. I'm stepping out of the owner's seat and putting you back in it. I am your manager today. This simple act removes the legal right the enemy has to cause chaos in your accounts. Second, we move into specificity. God is a God of order and numbers. If you need a specific amount to clear a debt or to invest in a new project, name that amount. Don't say, Lord, just bless me. Say, Father, I am looking at this bill for $1,200. Your word says you supply all my needs. I am asking for the resources to clear this. And I am asking for the wisdom to make sure I'm building a surplus so I can be a blessing to others. Third, we exercise authority. This is the part where you speak to the mountains in your life. You don't have to ask God to move the mountain. He told you to speak to it. You say to your debts, you are being cleared. You say to your income, you are increasing. You say to your mind, you will be sharp, disciplined, and creative today. You're setting the boundaries for what is allowed to happen in your financial life. Now, there's a period that many people struggle with. The gap between the prayer and the manifestation. Sometimes you pray and you expect the money to hit the account by noon. When it doesn't, you start to doubt. But you've got to understand the difference between a miracle and a blessing. A miracle is an instant event, but a blessing is a system that works over time. If you don't see the shift immediately, don't change your confession. Instead, look at your preparation. Are you ready for what you asked for? If God gave you the $1 million you're praying for, do you have the systems, the character, and the team to manage it? Or would it destroy you? Sometimes the delay is just God giving you time to build the wineskin that can hold the new wine. Use the waiting time to get organized. Clean up your spreadsheets. Study the industry. Become the person who's capable of handling the answer to the prayer you just sent up. I want you to take this seriously. Don't just watch this video and move on to the next thing. Tomorrow morning, I want you to actually sit down with your finances and have this conversation with God. Move from the begging posture into the stewardship posture and see how the atmosphere of your home changes. If you're ready to make that shift, I'd love to hear from you. Just leave a comment below and tell me, what is one area of your life where you want to build more capacity this year? Because to me, this isn't just a channel, it's a conversation. Now, I know that once you get the spiritual side right, you're going to have practical questions about things like pensions, debt management, and investing as a Christian. To help you with those next steps, I have put a list of resources for you in the description of this video. Go through those, find what you need, and let's keep building. You weren't called to just get by. You were called to lead, to give, and to leave a legacy. I'm Fumi. This is FumiVox. Let's get fit together. I'll see you in the next video.